Howdy peeps and welcome back to the channel, and yep, another kit review. Something somewhat different today. We have a mixed multimedia kit from Alicat of the 172 Boulton Paul C Balliol T21, and this is a resin and white metal kit, as you can tell by the box lid. Now, I've not built an all resin kit before, and the last time I worked with white metal was back when Games Workshop was still using white metal for their figures. So I got it for a steal, so I figured what the heck, should be worth it for a laugh. If I screw it up royally and it all goes pear-shaped, or I hate it, or whatever, the price I paid for it isn't much more than an Airfix starter kit, so if it goes in the bin, it's no big loss. Anyway, so what we get is a really nice sturdy box actually, and inside bubble wrap, decals, photo etch. I'm just going to take all this out straight here. Instructions, 2 bags of grey resin, 1 bag of clear resin, 1 bag of white metal, and one with just a small piece of styrene rod, so we just pop that. We don't need to see that, do we really? Well, I assume it's styrene rod. It looks like the styrene rod I've got. So I'll pop these just out of shot. Well, it will be, because I'm going to have to zoom in anyway, and I'm going to have to keep a good eye on the camera. So rule number 1 with resin kits: there will be bits of flash in the bags. Don't throw the flash away, or what you think might be flash, because it could well be a part. As you can see, we get quite a bit of resin. And let's shift the main bits. We just go through these 1 or 2 at a time. So we have fuselage halves. If you're watching on a small screen, you might not be able to see the detail. If you're watching on a big screen, you might. And I'm sweating like a pig. It's only 9 o'clock here, and it's already 27.5 degrees in the cave, so sweaty hand syndrome alert. So they're flat, clean, crisply moulded. Panel lines are, I would say, in scale. They're rather shallow, pretty delicate. There's some slight, I don't know whether it be a miscast or a mismould, but the other half looks similar, so I'm guessing there's something covers that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And on the inside we have the big pour stubs, which will need chopping back. Just some bits of flash that will need cleaning up. That'll be the same. We've got a little interior detail as well, which is always nice. And because of the bits of flash, etc., they're not going to fit together right now, but from a cursory glance they're at least the same height and the same length, so that's always a bonus. And I can see the light through the cockpit sides, so they're quite thin in places. That is one thing with resin, it can be a little bit fragile. Now we'll take a wing, whether it's the right halves, 2 bits of the same wing, I don't know. And again we have the same surface detail. We've got some raised panels on there, which is nice. Whether I might go through and rescribe the panel lines a little deeper using my trusty Tamiya razor saw, the photo etch one. Gear bays moulded open, I'll say all the detail, there is detail inside them. And we do, I think we have a wing fold option because we do have the detail inside the wing. And then on the outer half of the wing, again, same nice crisp detail. I mean, the panel lines are this, very similar or the same all across, so that's not an issue. We do have some very nice cast-in detail. And wrong wing half. Try and grab the right wing half sharp so they actually fit. That way up. And looks like there shouldn't be any really big issues with the fitment. They look roughly about the same size. So now when it comes to filling resin, obviously my usual choice of sprue goo won't work. I don't know whether the Balliol putty would work or would actually stick to the resin, or whether it would be a case of using the Squadron or Milliput. Cockpit Floor, fairly basic, but it's got some detail on it. I'm guessing instrument panel combing. Spinner with holes for the prop blades. Yeah. Underside cowling. The hole flashed over, but again, not an issue. Something you kind of expect with shorter run and resin kits. You see, now I have no idea whether that and that are flash or parts of something, so I'll pop them back in the bag just in case something broke. I'll pop these back in as well because we've looked at them now. We have the tail fin. The main thing I'm looking for here is obvious surface defects, and we've got a bit of a lump there, easy enough to sand out, and air bubbles and that kind of thing. And we have the tail planes, stabilizers. See, that is where it's come off of the pour gate in the bag, so it's broken off. Part's not damaged, but keep hold of all those bits because you never know if it's a part or not until you actually come to build it. Once you've got it built, you can chuck away all the excess. And we have some of the cockpit interior detail, and I'm not actually sure, I'm guessing that's the part because it's actually got a moulded bit or detail on the big bit's the pour stub. And we get the actual instrument panel, which does look really nice. I don't know whether there's a decal for that or whether it's a case of paint it. I'd probably go for painting it anyway, it'd be easier than trying to get a decal sucked down into those, because the actual instrument faces are fairly deep. And then we have teeny tiny little 172 seat. Not really what you call detailed, but crisp, clean. A relative scale thickness, I mean, in comparison to most 172, I mean, say an Airfix pilot seat. And the next bag, what have we got in here? Let's have a look, see. Not so much, we've got another seat. Main gear wheels. And no, I'm guessing that's the tail hook, would have been on perhaps there. or something's broken off and maybe in there for all I know, or there wasn't anything needed from that pull stub. But the wheels are nicely detailed, not overly no, nothing over. You know, it's 172, so you don't really see how much. Some more small random bits, which I think that's probably where that came off. Yeah. Ka-ching. And another seat. So not a huge amount in there. But as I say, it's 172, so it's not going to be a huge amount to it. There's already actually surprisingly more than I thought there would be. But as I say, as you can see, that could easily be taken for a piece of flash or something, but you keep hold of it just in case. Now we want our third bag of resin, which is the clear resin. How clear remains to be seen. I'm guessing it's probably going to be pretty susceptible to being scratched, so we'll be extra careful, and it's going to be very brittle and delicate, so removing these from the pour plugs, it could be tricky. They do look nice and clear though, it has to be said. They're not cloudy. Don't really get any major distortions from them, from the curved one anyway, so the straighter ones should be fine. Bit of a something, a little bit of flash or something there. There we are, we got rid of it. But I say, canopy all looks nice. The actual framing has got a nice step to it, nothing too big but enough to cut a knife with, and the various landing gear lights, navigation lights and all that. So go from that. So I've not worked with clear resin before either, so that will be one to be very careful and ginger with as I'm playing about with it. So the white resin that I haven't, white metal I've not looked at since I was much younger, and again the same goes, you're not necessarily sure what are parts, what could be flash. For example, this bit could be a pour stub, could be an oxygen bottle for the cockpit for all I know. Some kind of linkages, tail hook, as it's the C version. That looks to me like the rear frame for the cockpit. We have the main gear legs. I mean, could you get better detail with styrene than these? Possibly. Probably. But, you know, short run stuff. It's easier to create a mould for white metal than it is for styrene. And obviously they got the S and P on the pour stubs, so you can tell which is starboard and which is port, or right and left. Starboard being right, port being left. The way I remember that is port has the same amount of letters as left. And if I'm wrong, well then, so it don't really matter anyway. Tail wheel. Some other random bits, a different tail wheel. Another random part. And the 4 prop blades. So, you know, obviously being all resin and white metal, it will need to be assembled. Yeah, let's not call this an assembly, it's not a Tamiya kit. It needs to be put together with super glue, CA, or epoxy resin. Hopefully, as it's only 172 and shouldn't be too heavy, the super glue will be able to hold the weight. I'm thinking of things like the landing gear. don't really want to be getting into epoxy resin if I can help it. And next up we have, whatever's in here, let's find out. You'd think, you know, I'd actually look through these before I did this, but I don't. First we'll start with the decals. They look super thin. Very, very minimal carrier film. Nicely in register. A bit shiny, but that doesn't bother me because they're going to get a matte coat over them anyway. Why people worry about whether decals are shiny or not, I don't know. Because you get your paint on, you put your decals on, then you put a gloss coat on for your washes, and you... Yes, it doesn't matter if it's shiny or not. And then when you're done, you put a matte coat over the top of it all anyway. So, yeah, the decals look good. I've got to say that. Got to give them that credit for that one. And we get interior and exterior masks for the canopy. Vinyl, which is... Now that could be great if you haven't got to actually try and mask the canopy. Especially 172. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'll quite happily sit here and mask a 172 canopy with Tamiya tape and a sharp knife. But you know, I know other people struggle with it or really hate doing it. Same with IndieLink tracks. I'll quite happily sit here and put together a set of IndieLink tracks. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I quite enjoy it, but other people absolutely hate it. And a small sheet of etch for a small plane. We've got seat belts and various other landing gear doors are in etch. That's cool. And all sorts of little aerials and sticky outy bits that I haven't really got a clue what they are. Even when I put them on the plane, I won't have a clue what they are. I'll just be, oh, that's sticky outy bit. You know, the things where someone goes, oh, that's a blah 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 D, or that's an E because it's got that sticky outy bit, therefore this model is useless and it's inaccurate because it's got that sticky outy bit which shouldn't be on that version. I go, yeah, it still looks like a Tomcat. So, instructions. I'll stay zoomed in. We get a printed sheet telling you, this is one of those cases where if you're not used to working with resin or white metal, actually be a good idea to read the warnings and how-tos and stuff on this one. I do hear that they're really good at getting back to you if you do have any queries or problems, so that's good. So yeah, this kit is intended for modelers with some modelling experience and not suitable for children. Yeah. Please wash all parts in warm soapy water. And so if there's a part that needs straightening, you can do it by using hot tap water. Only glue is super glues, and the mask should be warm when sanding resin. To fill, use super glue or milliput. Avoid using styrene fillers such as green stuff. So I'm guessing the green stuff or whichever one you prefer, like the Balliol, just wouldn't stick. It just drop out. When it comes to instructions, this is it. Which I think is pretty much enough. I don't think you'd need much more than that because there's not a lot to it. You've got a little step here showing how the cockpit goes together and how to put the seat belts in, how to do the tail gear, an example of one wing to show you where all the bits go, the underside where the etch goes, and just how the main assembly goes together. But yeah, fuselage halves, wings. There we go. Open up hinge locations for wing folded wing options, so you can do it with a wing fold on it if you want. Although I've got to think that would make masking and painting it an absolute nightmare with folded wings. unless you just went with the boring standard all over grey. And then we get the 6 different decal options. Junior Officers Air Course, 727 Naval Squadron, Cosford Museum, Abbott's Inch 61s, RNVR, Stretton 56 and Abbott's Inch 62. So, you know, there's plenty of different, I won't say colour schemes, there's plenty of different variants there to go around. Does it show a, and then we have the top view where the majority of the stuff goes, which is for the trainer version. Now, all nicely printed. So it looks to be a well made, well presented, well designed, well thought out little kit. I've seen some of these for sale because, let's be honest, I paid £13 for this, and they usually, from what I've seen, they're normally around 35. So yeah, I basically went in there and robbed someone. But yeah, I'm not sure. I might do a bit of a build series on this, showing how I deal with resin and white metal and how it goes together and what the cleanup's like and filling and that kind of stuff. If you'd like to see that, leave a message down below in the comments. So yeah, that sounds like a great idea, Sharpie. I'd love to see you glue yourself to bits of resin and to the bench and God knows what else. Get high on filler fumes. So hope you've enjoyed. Catch you next time. Enjoy your modelling. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye.